What is up, everyone? Can you guys hear me okay? Oh, I'm on my phone again, so this is new territory for me, but at least it won't cut out. Woo! Quite an exciting few days here on the YouTubes. Hang on one second. Be careful. Okay, one of my kiddos is leaving, so let me turn off notifications and then I will say hello to everyone. Hello, Luna. Hello, Grinchy, Penny Positive, Pink Warrior, Purple Rainstorm, Queen Ashley. How are you feeling? I hope you're doing well. Hello, Traders, Dodie, Fluffy, Erica. I don't expect that we're going to have a big crowd. Everyone went live all at the same time, and that's okay because I always leave everything up. People can come back and listen to it at their earliest convenience. I have nothing to hide. It is what it is. Old man that's live over there. Um, Typically I wouldn't pass messages along like this. It made me giggle. And don't be mad at me, Mama T, because I thought it was funny that someone wanted to send you the message that just because you do meth and read Bible verses, it does not make you a Methodist. I promised I would pass the message along. I don't know if you do meth or not. If you do, knock yourself out. Meth is bad. Don't do it. I don't recommend it. You rot your teeth out. You ruin your life. It's just not a good thing. And especially don't do it while you're reading Bible verses because God just looks down on that all kinds of different ways. Who else is sneaking in? Graham. Hello, Susie Q. Well, what's been going on in Chasing's world? Let me tell you. My kiddo came home sick from school last Wednesday. Like, she wasn't even acting sick. She just broke out in this rash. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she got into something like what they clean the buses with, or, some other little cruddy kid got something on her. They roll around in the grass at recess. They do what fourth graders do. Lately, they've been catching grasshoppers. So she comes home with this rash, and I'm like, holy hell, what is this? So naturally, I start the process of elimination, and I'm like, is it laundry soap? Is it something she's been eating? Is it the dogs? What could it be? Well, by Thursday, it was like head to toe. So she went to the emergency room that night and they gave her a shot of steroids and sent us on her way. Well, we didn't go to the ER that I normally go to. The one I like is about 35 minutes away, but they're super thorough. We should have gone there to begin with. Um, so Friday night, same thing. It's even worse. Her fingers are swollen. She can't even like make a fist. She was just miserable, and she's 9, and my mommy heart just wanted to fix it and make it all better. There was nothing I could do except load her up with Benadryl and try to get her some relief. Well, we went to the emergency room and she got another shot of antibiotics. They did a battery of tests on her. She got her first blood draw ever. Um, so found out she had strep. She tested positive for strep. And even though she was asymptomatic, they said she's a strep carrier. She also had another little infection going on. So apparently, in kids, hives are common when they have, especially more than one infection, kind of battling it out. So that's what happened. She is cleared and got to go back to school today. So she was super excited about that. I was super excited because I was able to get some like research done. Um, I posted earlier in the chat the link for my true crime channel. It's a channel that I've had just about as long as this one. But if you've ever done anything true crime, you know it weighs on you heavily if you do it right. If you really get in there and put a little elbow grease into it and find the facts, I mean, it can be a lot. You're taking on the tragedies of other families, right? Of other victims. And sometimes the circumstances, it's just a lot, especially when you're someone like me who has a tendency to be overly empathetic and take on every emotion that you come in contact with. Um, but yeah, I put the link in there. If some of the mods can copy it and just drop it periodically, that would be great, because next week I am going to talk about the Crystal Rogers case. I was already working on that case, but if no one has heard yet, they actually arrested Brooks Huck, which is her former boyfriend. So it's been a long time coming. It looks like the family is going to finally get some answers and find out what happened to Crystal and hopefully find out the why. So we'll be talking about that next week. We're going to be talking about a few other cases too. I was handed a case that the family truly believes that their loved one was a victim of BTK. So I've been immersed in that. So we're going to keep this channel strictly for the YouTube sagas. All the crap that goes on around here. We're going to use it for like educational type stuff when we have a situation kind of like what we're dealing with now. Is Shelby getting out of jail or isn't he? Well, short answer, no, he's not getting out. I posted on my community page not long ago, like a few minutes ago, maybe 30 minutes ago. I was snooping around the old Google and I found this neat little tool that they have. I included a link on my community post. It is justice.kentucky.gov, I believe. But it's basically a database where the Parole and Probation Commission keeps a list. It has every month listed for 2023, and you just click on the month and it will give you a list of all the inmates in every county of Kentucky who are eligible for parole that month. So I posted the people who were eligible for Harlan County. Guess whose name isn't on there? I'll give you one guess because that's all it's going to take. I'm sure all of you got it right. So congratulations. Pat yourselves on the back. You deserve a cookie. Thank you, Dodie, for posting that. People snuck in. Hello, Tattoos and Unicorns. Haven't seen you in forever, ever. So glad to see you. Lenny J. Penny Positive. I always love when, like, if I'm in the bushes watching someone, usually over at Mammoth's, and then I'll make a comment or something, and then Penny Positive makes a comment. It makes me feel better knowing I'm not alone. Hello, Earth Angel. So yeah, it's been an exciting weekend around here. I noticed that I listened to a few minutes of Mama T before I started. she's I invited her to come here. You know, she's always welcome to come here and talk to me on this panel. Mama T, you blocked me in your chat the other day, and it was during the live that you did where you dropped the bombshell information about Shelby. And I know that sometimes you or your mods don't agree with the things that I'm saying. And that's okay if you don't agree with me. If you think I'm a moron or don't know anything and you know better than I do, that's fine and good. There might be some things that you do know better than I do. But when it comes to legal stuff, I think I kind of have the upper hand a little bit just because I've applied myself in school and I'm trying to learn as much as possible. There was some confusion over what's taking place on the 16th, and I know it's already been confirmed and said that it's an evidentiary hearing. Well, I think you guys were a little confused on what that means. Now, I made the comment and told you what an evidentiary hearing was. That's just part of it. I only get 200 characters to explain a complete thought. Sometimes that's just not enough because I like to talk a lot. Well, when you have an evidentiary hearing, it doesn't always mean a new charge. I know some were speculating maybe he had gotten himself in trouble again. Well, when you look at the case number and you see that it's the not a 2023 case number, you know it's not a new charge. There is a live out there where someone went on panel. I know that a lot of people just don't go to channels of creators they don't like. That's all fine and good. I don't fault you for that. Definitely go wherever you feel most comfortable. I, however, have always listened to everybody, regardless of my feelings for them, because you guys know I'm a stickler for firsthand information. Well, I happened to pop into a live and there was someone on panel who is very knowledgeable, more knowledgeable than I am, because this is actually her career field. She is a for real attorney. She knows the way the court systems work and all the different processes better than I do. Although I'm studying criminal justice, mine is geared more towards dealing with bodies and gathering evidence and information from the victims themselves. So she gives a lot of good information about what the process is going to be and what this hearing is all about. I know it was presented to all of us on a silver platter, like the whole family was in an uproar all that day, and there was a home check done, and this and that. I don't know why they would have done a home check. I'm leaning more towards the fact that they probably didn't, because when it's presented like he's going to be getting out, everyone's in danger, everyone lock your doors, turn on your cameras, grab your guns and just be ready for an all out war, that's more exciting than just they made a mistake on some paperwork or he's trying to argue a portion of the plea agreement. It was also snuck in there by Ernie. Ernie, close your ears because you're probably not going to like anything I had to say. You're just going to get mad at me all over again and blah, 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 blah. So just don't listen. If you notice, what I like to look for the tiny little details that will tell me that maybe the story I'm being spoon fed is not quite legit. One of the things that stood out to me was he offered up the information himself, like, oh, my sister's just been telling me that all Shelby's been talking about is going after Jimbo and Jimbo this and Jimbo that, and his kids are in danger. And then he says, oh no, I haven't had time to tell Jimbo. But you had time to hop up on a live and tell everyone that this is what was going down. If you were truly concerned for a man's children, you should have probably taken whatever avenue you could and reached out to that man and told him about your concerns before you just hopped up on a panel to give us this big story. That would make more sense to me. So that was my first clue that something was amiss. My second clue was he also used that situation to try to paint guilt on Jimbo, like gave him a makeover with some guilt, like he was guilty or involved in something. And I know that people are split right down the middle. A lot of people think that Jimbo was involved. Feel how you want to feel. This is the way I see it. There's always going to be two different sides of opinions about what happened in any situation. I don't hold that against anyone if they don't share the same opinion as me, because prosecutors and defense attorneys argue it out all morning long and then they go sit down and have lunch together. So it's not a big thing. We don't have to all agree. I can't stand an echo chamber. I like to use situations to have debates with people. It makes for more interesting conversation. So if anyone else caught that, he snuck it in there like Shelby was on the phone. He's all pissed off and freaked out a couple of times that day because he's blaming Jimbo for this and Jimbo for that. A lot of people have been having discussions about the situation, and that's good. Discussions are good. Um, People have mentioned, the crime scene photos, and I'm telling you, I've seen a good bit of them. Don't look. If you ever run across them, don't look. You can't unsee it. What they did to that man, or what the one person we know for a fact who admitted to doing to that man, I think there was someone else involved. I'm not even going to go into who I think it is. There's things that make me feel the way I do, but I will say that I don't think it was Jimbo. Um, I just don't. I haven't seen anything that points to him. They had his phone logs, his phone pings, his location, all that stuff. Do I think they did a shoddy investigation? Absolutely. I think that as someone who has been on scenes and knows procedures and has studied things, there was so much that was missed. And I agree with what Real Lady Justice said on the panel the other day. I agree that there should have been more cross examination. I think there were some untruths told by someone on that stand. Um, yeah, but it is what it is. He took that plea agreement. He admitted that he did those things, and now he has to do his time. There could be some alterations made in the time. I don't think that he's going to be getting out anytime soon. Even if there were a chance in Hades that this was going to be up for retrial, well, then you have a 50-50 chance there, right? Like, he could totally bomb it, or he could walk away from it. Um, there was just a lot of holes throughout the whole process that I would have liked to have had filled in. I know that the way they do things in our court proceedings where I'm at is way different than how they do them in Kentucky. I will agree with Real Lady Justice about that too. She said the same thing about her area. It was very lax and just kind of informal. Stuff like that wouldn't fly here. It's like I get nervous walking into one of our courtrooms, even if I'm not in any trouble, because it's just so much different. I'm not familiar really with Kentucky law. I've learned a lot more over the past year or so. I know there's been talk of some people have said that they think it's some big corruption or government cover up thing. I guess anything's possible because we all know that there are crooked law enforcement officers, crooked politicians. I mean, that's just the world we live in. Let's see. Yeah, I think we all want truth and not hearsay. That when when Mama T went live with that the other night, like I seriously was trying to help her, and I'm not going to go on her panel because she let her chat and she allows her mods to just totally treat me like crap. I've never done anything to her. If these people can't handle like a little back and forth conversation, I don't know what to tell them. I mean, they want everyone to just agree with everything in there. And I know that one mod she has, I don't want to call anyone out by their name because I don't want them to feel like I'm picking on them, but they know who they are. Y'all probably know who they are. It's a guy, and he is just very like, you get one chance and he's going to whack your ass out of there with his wrench. And there's a couple of mods that just don't like me. I never block anyone. I ended up having to block one of them because one day she's like, oh, great, chasing has appeared or some crap like that. So I'm just not going to go on a panel where people just try to steamroll me, because it's not going to work out well. They do want to live in their fantasy world, and it's okay. Look, I'm not saying don't be supportive of your friend. I'm not saying you got to completely turn your back on someone because everyone else doesn't like them. But when you don't use deductive reasoning and your own discernment to get to the bottom of things, it can make you look silly in the long run. And I probably would want to do whatever I could. Like, I feel that before she went live with that day, she should have waited, sat on it until Monday, made her own phone calls, because anyone can call the prosecutor's office and get information. I could call and get the information if I wanted to. They're probably not going to tell me as much as they would as someone that was involved or was a witness or something. But yeah, you got to. The first step would have been to Google the definition of an evidentiary hearing. That would have been her first step. Then she could have searched a little further. Y'all want to hear my dog? Hang on. I don't know if he's going to do it now, but he'll make noises in a minute. He's having a dream. She could have dug a little further into like what the hearing that day was about. That's how we found out that it was for a reduction of sentence or to vacate, all of that. So she should have got all her little eggs in one basket and then gone live with it. Don't always be so quick to jump and be the first one to talk about something, because if you get it wrong, it's hard to have a do-over. Like, once you get something wrong, that's kind of what you're going to be known for. And I've really tried to help her not get picked on so much, but it's exhausting. So from this point forward, I might still talk about things that she talks about, but unless she comes to me one-on-one and says, hey, can you explain something, or hey, can you help me with something, I wash my hands of it. I'm not going to go out of my way to help someone and then be treated so poorly when it's undeserving. Hello, Curiosity. I know that there was someone had made a statement that the gun was actually found under the victim's body. That's not the case. I don't know where they saw that information, but no, that is not what happened. The gun was in the truck. He does make her look foolish, and it's sad, like, he has this other channel that he could have gone live and talked about it, but he didn't. He let her present it. And, as fast as he jumped up on that panel that day, I'm not going to believe that he didn't have any idea she was going live about it. He absolutely knew. Let's see, what else have I heard about it? I know that there has been some speculation that the reason Ernie hasn't handled his charges he has now is out of fear of having to give a DNA sample. I've always felt that way. I've never been secretive about that. I've always said he needs to go get these charges behind him so he can move forward with his life. Maybe he's waiting for the statute of limitations to run out. I don't know. I don't know how that works in a Commonwealth state. Nor have I looked into what the statute of limitations on those charges would be. I'm just not that invested, I guess. Let's see. Yes, 8 a.m. breaking news for Crystal. It's been heard. She was a mother of 5, you guys. 5. Hello, Freeside. Yes, I am Karen, the know it all. I was named Karen by Ernie. So I would be curious, how I think pretty much everyone in here, we've talked about it before, and I kind of feel like everyone here shares the same opinion that I have about, someone else being involved with that. Because although the picture I saw of Mr. King, he didn't look like a huge guy in the picture, but he was definitely a lot bigger than Ernie and Shelby. Now, it also depends on, there's been questions about how one person could subdue him. Um, it would depend on the circumstances, what were they doing? Was he sitting down and someone was standing over him talking to him? Was he hit first? I mean, just because there was never any true evidence of how it was carried out. Like, I never saw any of that part in the trial. I don't think any of that was brought out. It was pretty cut and dry. I think that they did get their confession, and that's what was needed, and that's why he got the plea deal he got. But we've always said that, like, here it's called conspiracy as well. So we've always said that the what he was charged with leaves a door open for someone else to possibly face charges. From everything I've heard about Shelby, I don't feel like, no matter what his mental capacity is or his IQ level, I don't feel like he would sit in prison all this time and not give up a name of someone else being involved. So that's kind of where I get hung up at. Like, I feel like he would tell on whoever was with him. Um, no, Luna, I'm talking about the statute of limitations on just the van charge and the destruction of personal property. If he is involved in any way in what happened with Mr. King, no, there's no statute of limitations on that. So, yeah, I just feel like he wouldn't, and I get torn on whether or not Ernie was involved, because I feel like the fact that we know from the letters that we've heard that Shelby had written to family, I think in one letter he said, tell Ernie to go to hell or something like that. Um, I feel like if he had that much anger towards him, and then here Ernie has these other charges that he's racked up, and he's still out here living his best life, that would kind of tick Shelby off too, and want to talk and be like, look, my brother was there with me. So it's just a very, very strange case. And I hate that the family is having to deal with this. But you better believe, I mean, there is a process when it comes to paroling someone, and that's in any state. I did look up the parole guidelines and the process for Kentucky. I looked that up this morning. Let me see. I can read you guys what it says, and then I can post the link. Um, it didn't mention anything about, like, I didn't find anything so far that said a home visit is required. That usually is standard procedure, because they want to make sure that whoever they're letting out of prison, especially if they've been in there for any number of years, that when they're released, they're going to have some kind of stability. They want a plan in place for them to move forward with their lives. There are people that can help them with that, but they like to have that plan pretty locked in tight before they ever step foot out of prison. Hey, Raz. Hey, J Law. Let's see. Um, So, like I said before, I think the whole home visit thing may have just been thrown in for effect because he's not coming out of prison anytime soon. Let's just say that there was a small chance in hell that he was going to get a new trial. They could drag it out to where it would probably make more sense just for him to finish out his mandatory time. It's just tricky all the way around. I'm very intrigued by the case because there are so many different loops and circles and avenues to explore. First and foremost, I just want the family to get the full justice that they deserve, you know. I don't I don't care what that man's sexual preference was. I don't care if he was known as the grumpy man in the neighborhood. I don't care about all that. It was still someone's son, father, brother. Well, I don't know if he had children, but brother, you know, uncle, cousin. He had a whole family that loved him regardless. And he was a former mayor. And he deserved better than what he got on his last day on earth. Um, what was done to him was just astounding, uncalled for, you know, especially if the only fruit of all of that was a bag of wheat pennies and some broken jewelry or stuff like that. I mean, I know that there's been speculation that it was anywhere from like 250 to like 300,000. I don't remember. I don't recall if there was ever a solid amount given that was taken from the property. I don't know if they actually ever proved that. But if some huge amount of money was taken, I don't know. You know, people steal for less. I mean, they kill for less these days. Yes, conspiracy means one or more, and in Kentucky, it's complicity to murder, and that's what he pled to. So there could definitely be one or more people involved. That's true, Sandy says. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people have on each other, you know. I don't think that Ernie was a Boy Scout growing up. I mean, he's told us stories about some of the stuff he's done and gotten into. And then we've seen, you know, like all the alleged scams and stuff that people have talked about. I mean, I know that brothers will do things for each other, you know. Then there's the question of the boot size and things like that. So, best I can say as of right now, we just have to wait until that hearing on the 16th, and then we'll all know exactly what it's concerning. But I think that people can relax a little bit. I don't think that Jimbo needs to be worried about anyone coming for his kids anytime soon. And let's keep in mind, folks, that Ernie didn't give two shits about the safety of Jimbo's children when he was posting maps to his house of his house that included camera locations. He didn't care then. Paige says she loves her sister, but there's no way she would help her murder anybody. Yeah, I wouldn't either. You know, sometimes you have to love your family member to the point of being honest and holding them accountable for their actions. It is Pandora's box. It's a lot. It literally gave me a headache the other day. Like, oh gosh. And I know that it's just been talked up so much and talked about, and I had started going back over the trial, focusing strictly on Ernie's testimony. And then it's just, I listen to the people when they say that they're burnt out on it. But now here we are again, and there's another hearing coming up. So now people are curious about it. And my best advice is make it a solo project for yourself if you really want to get caught up and know what's going on. Make it a solo project. Go watch the trial clips for yourself, because it's easier to just kind of jot down your opinions or your questions. And then after all of that, then come together as a group and talk it over. It gets kind of confusing when you try to do it as a group from the beginning, especially when people are already so dug into their opinions and feelings, because then people can get a little cranky. Hello, Beth. I delivered a message earlier. I didn't know if I should give the name of the person that sent it, but yeah. So, so what is going on with everyone else? Like, I had this whole big thing planned where I guess I will touch on it a little bit. Um, Originally, what the title meant was how all this friction between like Ernie and Mama T and then all this other stuff, like it's really not about all the stuff they make it about. And we've talked about it before, so really I just don't even want to go there. Like I'm not even, it takes a lot to get me to the point where I'm just like completely over something, or but I think I'm officially at that point. Like it has gotten so frustrating and so monotonous that basically it boils down to quit whining about the stalking, bullying, and harassing and all of that. Because your boy, Mama T, has been sitting there doing the same exact thing to other people. He has done all of the things that you get mad at everyone else for doing to him. Recently, just the other day, he was threatening to dox Nitro Freak. I think his exact words were, "Oh, should I dox Nitro Freak? What do y'all think about that? Should I do it? Oh, maybe." It's just the same old thing. He threatened me. He's got something coming for me. Remember, Mama T? And you're just like, oh, everyone's stalking and bullying and harassing him. I haven't done anything to that man. So I'm just over it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. You and your little tigers just chill the fuck out. Just chill. So yeah, the second channel. I think I don't know if you guys can scroll up. The link to my true crime channel is on my community page. You can always go back and watch the chat replay, grab it from there. It's called Crime Scene Uncovered. Um, I do have some TC videos on this channel. I'll probably move them all to that channel just to keep them all in one spot. But there are a couple on there. They're two of the first ones I ever did, so they're not that great, but they're family interviews. So the true crime community has been taking a beating lately. Well, I'm not even going to say it's the real true crime community because it's not. It's the true conspiracy community. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of the most vicious vitriol and hatred spewed out about people lately. And these are people that are supposed to be caring about the little children, right? Like they care about the missing kids and the endangered children and all of that stuff. But yet they don't care enough about their co-creators or, they're equals on this platform to know that, hey, you're kind of pushing someone over the edge. Why don't you just stop? They're not going to stop because they thrive on that hatred. Hey, Dutchie. Hope you're doing well. If someone could drop Duchess's channel link, that would be great. She has a good crime channel. She really does care about missing people no matter what age. And she's always telling about someone who is missing or, you know, it's good. So if you need a break from all the chaos and the drama and the complete anarchy, that's a good channel to watch. I usually binge watch like Annie Elise is one of my favorites, Kendall Ray, all the people that aren't in the little TC circle that we see every day. Yes. Let me order someone to panel. Mama T, come on. Come on over here right now and explain to me what you mean by this. This is your last chance. After this, I don't want to hear anything else about it. You have your chance to come up here and explain yourself. So after today, it's one and done. So yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like, except I'm not as raspy sounding. Yes, Sandy says there are some pretty sick tickets in this town. That is one of my favorite movies. I used to watch it all the time with my mom. This month makes 13 years since I lost my mom to cancer. It never gets any easier. I love chili. We make chili haystacks, which is I make Tex-Mex chili, and I'm lazy about it. I just buy the packet of McCormick Tex-Mex chili mix and I slap it in the crock pot, and then we make, it's kind of like Frito pie basically, but I guess Frito haystacks is a better name for it. It sounds catchier. But you just slap the old Fritos down in a bowl and put some chili on there and some cheddar cheese and a little sour cream. A lot of people put onions. Nobody in my family really likes onions. I can't stand them. I can eat them if they're cooked in something, but like the crunch of a raw onion just, ugh. Fluffy's cooking dinner. I'm going to be cooking here pretty soon. I got to pick Minnie Me up from the bus stop in about an hour. And she'll have bukus of makeup work she has to do. That's always fun. And then I'm making spaghetti tonight. I have to kind of like, if it were up to me, I could have spaghetti like all the time. I love it. I can't get enough of it. And I know it's not good for you because it's just carbs and carbs and carbs and more carbs. But it's so yummy. But I have to kind of, when I do my meal plans for the month, I can only like sneak it in once or twice a month or everyone will get grumpy. Yes, chili with Fritos. Another one of my favorites is chili with cornbread. Where I'm from, we eat sweet cornbread. So I use Jiffy cornbread mix and I use a quarter cup of sugar because I mix 2 boxes. And this is turning into a cooking live stream, but that's okay. The best laid plans of mice and men. I don't have the energy for some bullshit today. Like, it's been a rough week with Mini Me being sick. Oh, you don't like the spaghetti, you just like the meat sauce? Yeah. And like my kids love tortellini, so make that sometimes. But I have found that the best, like I like a sweet spaghetti sauce, so I add a little sugar to that too. Cuts down on the vinegar some. Oh, you make your cornbread with local honey. Oh, KFC, that sounds good. I just ate and y'all are making me hungry. Chicken and rice. Mini me loves chicken and rice. I just made that the other day. Um, I made chicken and stuffing bake the other day. That's a real big hit around here. There's also another one. It's like a Thanksgiving dinner in a dish, but it's made with chicken, and it's basically the same thing as chicken and stuffing bake, but you add a can of green beans to it. So it's like a whole Thanksgiving meal in one dish. Yes, good food. And it's going to be that time of the year. Like, I love the fall because I love making soups and stews and all that yummy comfort food. Like apple dumplings. I'm going to make a batch of those this weekend. And it's super simple. It is a cup of melted, no, not a cup. That'd be a lot of butter. A half a cup of melted butter. And I make a big batch of them. And then a cup of orange juice, and you get crescent rolls and you slice apples. I use Granny Smith. Roll them up in the crescent rolls and put the butter and orange juice mixture over it, a little brown sugar and cinnamon. Pop them in the oven, and it's delish. So yeah, you guys can always go to the crime channel and just find a video, comment under there. I'll probably put a post up on that channel soon where you guys can leave recommendations of cases that you want to hear about. Some of the cases I'm going to be talking about, like I said, next week is going to be Crystal Rogers. Then I'm going to talk about Taylor McAllister, um, the BTK case, Christian Andriacchio, um, and then there's going to be some lesser known cases. Because you guys have no idea. Like, not all cases make headlines. They should. All of them should be as equally important, but not all of them make headlines. Like, you would never know that I had someone in my family that was killed. Um, it was an accident. It wasn't an intentional death, but someone in my family lost their life at the hands of someone else. It didn't make headlines. It never, there was a little news article about it, mainly because the perpetrator was a 17-year-old kid who is well known in the community. So, yeah, I think that all victims deserve the same amount of, news time, the same acknowledgement. But unfortunately, if the news outlets spent all their time talking about victims or, people who are killed, things like that, victims of crime, there would never be any time for any other news because it's so often that it happens. Oh. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the interviews with his daughter lately, just trying to get up to speed because there's cases that are well known that I just don't have a chance to look into. So I kind of give myself a crash course. And that's another thing. Like, I love hearing from the family members of people who have committed violent crimes because they have so much to go through moving forward as well, just like the victim's family. So I am going to write the name of that book down and I'm going to look into getting it. So thank you, Sandy says, for that recommendation. So, what else? Let's see. Halloween is coming up. Has everyone got their Halloween costumes planned out? Mini Me cannot decide between being Wednesday Addams or what else did she say? Barbie. Of course, Barbie is a top contender because the movie just came out. I've watched the movie like 5 times. It's pretty funny. I don't typically dress up for Halloween. My Halloween costume every year is usually leggings, a flannel shirt, and some boots. That's my mom costume. I remember when I was little, we used to go to the mall on Halloween, and like that was back when every store was open in the mall. You walk into the malls around my area these days, and you're lucky if you have 6 or 7 stores that are actually open and running because all the online stuff and the little strip malls have just kind of taken over. Um, but we used to go to the mall and go trick or treating. And then there was always, like, I remember Sears had this one, it wasn't a store, it was just like a space, but it's where they kept overstock. And they would open that up, and the local hospital would bring in an x ray machine. And there would be kids standing in line with their parents, and you could go in and they would put your candy out on the table and x-ray it to make sure, there wasn't any razor blades or anything crazy in there. You dress your Doberman up as a spider in honor of Ernie's bangs. My dogs have skeleton costumes. They have like these little onesies that my kiddo picked out, and they have like skeletons on the back. So put them on him already, and Judah, my pit, managed to get his off pretty quick. Riley, the lab, slept in hers, but when she woke up the next morning, she had like one leg out. She looked like she had a rough night on the town. But Halloween's fun. Nowadays, like I live in a neighborhood where it's just a small dead end street, and like the next street is like a block away. So to go trick or treating around here, we have to drive to some of the older neighborhoods where there's like sidewalks and things. There is a house there that they completely redo every main living area of their house, including one of the bathrooms. And they do this haunted house, and they just let people come through. They didn't do it last year, and I think it might be because the year before it was really rainy and muddy. And I know their floors were just getting demolished, but it was pretty fun. We have a corn maze here that we're going to be going to pretty soon. They do a haunted maze at night on Fridays and Saturdays, and they have a pick your own pumpkin patch where it's you just pay a flat fee and you go out. They take you out on a hayride out to their pumpkin patch, and you just pick them right off the vine. It's pretty cool. A lot of churches here do pumpkin patches where they bring a bunch of pumpkins in on a truck, and then they sell them as a fundraiser. The thing with that is the prices are so outrageous. And I like to decorate with pumpkins in the fall, so I usually just go to Walmart and get those like $4.98 ones. And I get a bag of like the gourds, and I get a few of the small pie pumpkins. And then when I'm done with them, I throw them out in the woods behind my house and let the animals eat it up. I probably have my own pumpkin patch growing out there in the woods, to be quite honest, with all the pumpkin seeds I've thrown out there over the years. One year, behind like I have a pretty big yard, and we fenced in half of it, and that's like where we hang out. And then outside the fence, I have a big burn pile where I burn trash when we're not under a burn ban, which we're always under a burn ban. But I had a like tomato plant growing up out of the middle of that burn pile. I also have a little pet cemetery back there. We don't have any like large animals out there. I have one dog out there, my boxer, that passed away when I was actually in the hospital after giving birth to Mini Me. He got really sick, and yeah, I miss him. He was a great dog. He was named Apollo after Apollo Creed. And let's see, I have some squirrels out there because the husband is a tree climber, and he would bring me home baby squirrels. And I think I've told this story about this squirrel before. Um, his name was Lucky because he was the only one that was ever able to bottle feed and get him to an age where he could be released. Now, if you've ever had a baby squirrel or know anyone who has had one, they will get attached to their mama. And I was mama. So when I released that squirrel, it kept following me into the backyard. Like I put him inside the fence and he went up a tree and then he came back down. Like he just kept following me to the back door. Well, I took him outside the fence and let him go. And he went all the way up this big, huge pine tree. So I was so excited. I thought, finally, I hate to let him go, but that's what you do. You raise them and you get them healthy and you send them on their way. Well, he was not going to go easily. I have a Cairn Terrier. And to give you a visual, that is the dog from Wizard of Oz. Her name is even Toto. I rescued her out of an alley. Well, Cairn Terriers were actually bred way back when to track badgers. So they're tracking dogs, and she has tracked many things. That poor squirrel waited until I got in the house, came back down the tree, went over the fence, got in my backyard while the dog was outside. I walked past the sliding glass door, and there was my dog sitting there, proud as could be, with my squirrel hanging out of her mouth. So he had a short little life out there in the free world, but he's buried back there with Apollo. And I have some other squirrels that just didn't make it. I've had baby possum. Mama was hit by a car. If I see a possum that's been hit, I always stop and check to see if they have babies in the pouch, because you don't want them sitting there nursing after mom's already gone. So I saw a possum get hit by a car. She did have a couple of babies in the pouch. It's tricky though, you know. Wiener dogs are good at running after squirrels. Y'all, this Toto of mine, I think she's a freak of nature because she's going on, let's see. I moved back here in 2010. We got her, I rescued her and brought her home in like February of 2011. So she was about a year old when I got her. So she's still alive and kicking. She's going blind. She doesn't hear very well, but she is still as fast as ever. You wouldn't know that she's as old as she is. But our neighbor across the street had chickens, and he used to always just, they were free range chickens. I'm all for free range chickens. But if you live in an area where every house on the street has dogs, keep your damn gate closed. You have a front gate there, keep it closed, because this dog of mine went over there and snatched one of those chickens. And my dad was still alive, and he was over here, and he was standing outside, and he said he saw Toto running across the street with this chicken flapping around all over the place, and it was as big as my dog. I didn't let that dog inside my house for 2 days because my dad couldn't get the chicken away from her. She went under the house and then came out in the backyard. And when I got home from work that day, she was sitting there eating that chicken. And I'm like, you are not coming anywhere near me. I was so mad at her. Hey, Kemper. Paige snuck in. Hello to everyone who has come in. Some people are leaving. I'm probably boring everybody with my stories, but I like story time. One day I think we're going to do a live that's just that. Like, I'll tell stories. People can come up one at a time. I'm so cheap. Like, I use free StreamYard, you guys, because, I'm very meticulous about where every penny goes, and I'm just not going to pay for unnecessary things. I would rather spend that money on doing stuff for my kids, like, Minnie Me has dance and stuff she wants to do, and so I can just think of better ways to spend that money. We're a cash family. We don't use credit. So, yeah, every penny helps. And so I can invite people at one at a time if anyone wants to share their stories. It could be about anything, it could be just your day to day life. Just get to know each other a little better. I do have something that I'm working on. I've heard people refer to me as a free agent, so I'm going to do a live talking about like what being a free agent means to me and the things I do to make it work and not step on anyone's toes or hurt anyone's feelings, because there is an art to it. One thing I like about everyone in my chat, and I owe it all to you guys because you guys really make it possible, is that everyone leaves their crap at the door. And for the most part, I've never really had any major problems in my chat. I don't have to go back afterwards and delete a bunch of comments. I don't have to worry about people, bringing each other to tears because they're just being so hateful to each other. So I appreciate that you guys respect me enough to make it work. And I think that maybe if people could just be like, you don't have to like each other. You don't have to get along. You don't have to like the same creators. But if everyone could just be cordial, no matter what chat they're in, you know, say hi to someone, let them say hi back to you. You don't ever have to talk to them again after that. But if people can just make people feel comfortable, then maybe people would be better with talking and participating in certain chats. Usually when I go into a chat and I make myself known that I'm there, it's like I see someone that I know that I've known for a while. I say hi to them. I'll say hi to a few people. Sometimes I just have a question. I want to participate in the conversation or get clarification about something. So I mean, I can't make you guys get along even temporarily, and that's not what I'm trying to do. People who have their opinions about others, I trust and believe that they have valid reasons for the way they feel, and I'm not going to walk all over that. I just appreciate that people can coexist in here. Creators create a cluster of similar energies, good or bad, helpful or toxic. Yeah, that can be. Um, and that's what I try not to do here. Like, I want a variety of people because I like not really a challenge or a debate, just a conversation. Like the way Mama T could have handled that the other day, as far as I'm concerned, rather than blocking me that day, she could have heard me out and made it into something productive. That's where everything falls apart. And Mama T, you read out a couple of comments that I had made in Jimbo's chat. That's another thing I wanted to address. She said she read out one of my two comments that I made in Jimbo's chat, and one of them was I said it could definitely go that way. Like, I'm intrigued to find out what happens, or something like that. What I meant by that, Mama T, it was in reference to something Jimbo had said a few minutes before that, regarding the comment I made that it would be a ruckus if he somehow beat the odds and got out. And Jimbo had said that he feels that Ernie being on the run could actually help the Commonwealth's case. I wasn't able to comment immediately after because I was taking temperatures and giving medicine to Mini-Me. So it was like a minute or two after he made that statement that I made that comment. You presented it like I was saying there's a possibility Shelby will get out. There's not a chance in hell that he's getting out anytime soon. That's just off the table. So I wanted to correct that little tidbit. Hey, Alabama girl. Let's read some comment. Yes, like energies will end up magnetizing to each other. See, I like a challenge though. It's easy when everyone's on the same wavelength and getting along and shares the same opinions, but I don't know, I like to shake it up a little bit personally, but I'll do the shaking up. Like, if y'all are in here and I'm live, I'll do the shaking up. I don't want you guys to, I don't ever want anyone in my chat to feel like they have to think exactly like I do. It's okay to disagree with me. But that's true. I mean, just in everyday society, people with similar interests or similar energies, they become friend groups and things like that. I have friends in real life that I don't agree with everything they think or feel. And I made this comparison over a year ago. There was a live I did, and it was talking about differences of opinion. And I had made the statement that if everyone had the same opinion and felt the same way about everything, it would be pretty boring. It would be like eating plain white rice and drinking water every meal, every day of your life. That's how boring it would be. I would rather step on 1,000 Legos than, I don't know why I pinned that comment. Geez, I'm not used to being on my phone, so every comment I touch goes on the screen. I'm still such a newbie at this crap after 2 years. Let's see. I don't know who's going live right now. I know Traders was live. Mama T was live when I started. I don't know. So, gosh, you guys, September is literally almost over. Today's the 27th. I can't believe it. This year has just flown by. I turned 48 this year. It's true. The older you get, like, these years just, shoo. Mini-Me was gone all summer. She went to go visit family. And when she came back, I'm 5'2". Actually, I'm 5'2 and a half. Like, I always throw that half in there. That half is very important to me. Mini-Me went away and she came back so much taller. And then when she was measured at the doctor, she's 4'11". She's 9, you guys. By the time she is in middle school, I'll be looking up to her. My other daughter, my 18-year-old, she's short like I am. Happy birthday, Sandy says. Everyone tell Sandy happy birthday. She is 61 years young today. We've had a lot of birthdays lately. Pitbull Mama just had a birthday. Fluffy just had a birthday. Luna just had a channel birthday. If you guys haven't gone to Luna's dance parties, I highly suggest you do it. It's just a good release. For her celebration, she had Army Vet doing some music, a fellow Louisianian. So it was a good time. But she always does cool little dance parties. Just put on your dancing shoes and grab your little drinky drinks and hop on in there, pop in your earbuds, and cut a rug while you're washing dishes. That's usually what I do. If y'all saw me at night in my kitchen sometimes when I'm listening to people, whew, hot mess express. I usually have both dogs laying at my feet, all in my way. I trip over dogs at least 187 times a day. My pit, he's such a baby. Um, he has a bad habit of stepping on my flip flop, and I can't tell you how many pairs of flip flops have gotten broken because he follows up so close behind me. He steps on my foot, and then I go to try to take a step, and it just rips right off. Because in the spring and the summer, like I would prefer to go barefoot everywhere, but that's kind of cave womanish. So I'm a flip flop kind of girl. I don't really like shoes. I don't like my feet to be hot. I just, ugh. So in the fall, in the winter, though, I'm more of like boots and Converse. Yeah. Okay, Trixie, we can get together about the monthly meal plan. I have to meal plan everything because I stick to a very strict grocery budget. Like I said, we don't do credit. I pay cash for everything, so I budget everything down to the penny. No shoes, no socks, no bras. Yeah, I like to be free when I'm at home. Like it's usually a tank top, leggings, or yoga pants, or shorts and flip flops. Nothing fancy around these parts. Getting dressed up for me. That's why I usually never cam up, you guys. Like I don't just sit around my house in full hair and makeup. I don't have a glam squad. It's so hot and humid even now. Like it gets nice at night. It'll drop into like the low 70s, high 60s. But in the day, like it's 97 here today. So the humidity is outrageous. I'm just not going to get all gussied up just to sit around the house. Not that I don't love and appreciate you guys, but y'all don't want me camming up without it. Trust me. I'm so like pale and my roots are showing. I always have like a mom bun. So dressing up for me around the house is like wearing my good tank top and yoga pants. I don't know. I mean, there's a picture of me right there. I've cammed up before. You just got to look through my lives and catch it because it happens quick. Also, another reason I don't cam up is because if I do, I will find myself like messing with my hair. I'll be adjusting stuff and, oh, it's just easier this way. I don't like anything that tightens the body either except Spanx because after all these kiddos I've had, there's some stuff that needs some tightening. A bunch of moo dresses and be done with it. Heck yeah. That's how it is around this house. My son, he's 21 and he's a little over 6 feet tall. He is very tall, and he's not like a string bean, but he's not a bodybuilder either. But he's super tall. I only think I come to like his armpit. That's how tall he is. And me and my oldest daughter are little squatty bodies. Let's see, it's like almost 3:30. I'm fixing to have to go get Mini Me from the bus stop and get her snack ready. We baked cookies yesterday, so we're going to decorate them today. She was so excited to be feeling better yesterday and able to do things. Bless her little pea picking heart. So I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate those who are going to listen to the replay. I know it was kind of all over the place and just scattered today, but sometimes days are just like that. So yeah, unless Mom T does anything crazy or anything new comes out about this hearing, we're probably not going to talk about that much anymore. I'm going to try to do one live a week on this channel and at least one on the crime channel. So be watching out for notifications. Share the channel out with your friends. I know true crime is not for everyone. I am going to be getting this channel monetized again. I will not be monetizing the other channel. I'm not going to make money off someone else's pain. So this will be the fun stuff, the other channel, the serious stuff. I look forward to seeing all of you at both of them. Thank you for your support, and everyone have a wonderful evening. Remember to hug your loved ones. You never know if tomorrow is going to come. And I will be seeing all of you very soon. Bye.